So, what is it? I asked, chewing the tip of my left pigtail. I think it's an old treehouse, Lisa replied, her face speckled with dirt. When we crossed the white cheek an hour before, it had been mostly mud. We could probably climb, I mused, pointing my dirty fingers at the ragged wooden slates nailed into the side of the tree. Lisa studied the slates. They were rotten. Streaks of rust ran down below the old nails. Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna do it! I announced, and started towards the makeshift ladder. Just catch me if I fall. You know you're too heavy, my friend sighed. You'll break my neck. I pretended not to hear that. I placed the tender foot on the first wooden slate, and then shifted my weight back and forth. The piece wobbled, but it didn't break. I put more weight on it, and then guess, the rung above my head, and pulled. Still steady. I'm fine. I think it'll be okay. I called behind me, and began my ascent. The late July sun hung like a drop of molten slag in the western sky. Not as bright as it had been a few hours ago, but it didn't feel any cooler. Sweat poured down my brow and chest and legs, spattering Lisa. And she clicked her tongue in annoyance. I stared through the narrow, jagged square and cut into the bottom of the treehouse. Spiderwebs clung to the faraway ceiling, drifting in the weak breeze. I don't think you'd like it up here, I holstered. I think there's spiders. Lisa let out an audible shudder. I grinned. Spiders never really bothered me. I thought that if I found a big one, I might drop it down on her. For the heavy comment, my grin widened. One of the slates creaked under my foot, and I sucked in my breath and held still. The wood didn't break. Don't fall, for Christ's sake, Lisa implored. You're seriously going to kill me if I try to catch you. 3 more steps. They looked a little better, having been shaded from the worst of the elements over the years. I hauled myself up into the treehouse. What's it like? Lisa called. I looked around. There were spiders, all right. Spindly yellow ones with fat bellies and angry red streak ones across from them. Biters, from my experience. Ones I wouldn't bother picking up the drop on my friend. Well, I answered back, you should probably stay down there, if you get my meaning. Lisa shuddered again. Ancient leaves lay piled in the corner, like old skin, I thought with a shiver. I didn't know why I always did that sort of thing. Why I always thought the worst about the most benign things. Though nowadays, I guess I may have more of a reason. Something made of paper was sticking out from the leaf piles. I stretched out and reached for it. My eyes lit up. Holy crap, Liz! Some purrs left some old nudie mags up here. What? She exclaimed. No way! Pass it down! Nuh-uh! I teased and thumbed through the faded waterlogged pages, despite myself. I started to blush. I ain't never seen anything quite so hardcore in my life. Do any of them look like Kira, you big lesbo? Lisa teased. I didn't answer that one. One of the brunettes really did look like Kira, but I wasn't going to give Lisa the satisfaction of being right. I was too busy wondering how long it took Kira's doppelganger to do all that shaving. I must have gotten lost in reverie for a minute or two because it took a moment for me to register my friend was hissing my name over and over in the hushed whispers, as if she didn't want to be heard by anyone but me. What? I bellowed. Flustered and annoyed, I leaned over the edge of the treehouse entry and locked eyes with Lisa. Her eyes were wide, almost like she was scared, but then she looked back towards the area we came from. Then I heard footsteps on the stony embankment. We crossed when we first spied the treehouse. "Hey, honey," a male voice called. "What are you doing out here, all alone?" I crept across the splintery floor and peeked out the side window. A man was approaching Lisa. A stranger. I leaned back against the wall. Staying unseen, goosebumps rose on my arms without knowing why. Yeah, just hanging out with my dad," Lisa lied. "He had to pee, but he'll be right back." The man let out a dry laugh. "Must have been a hell of a bladder on him. I've been watching you for a little while from over there, and never saw him at all. Does Dad usually pee for 5 minutes straight?" Lisa didn't answer. I felt the spider's prickly legs tickle my shoulder near my tank top strap. I flicked it away without looking. "You know what I think," the man said, shifting his voice from mocking friendly to just mocking. "You're either all alone out here, or you got a little friend up in that treehouse." My breath caught my throat. No, Lisa stammered. "It's just me and my dad. He's a cop. He's on his way back." "Oh, yeah?" He chuckled. "A big bladder policeman. Coming here? Coming back, huh? Can't blame him, really. I gotta say, if you were my daughter, I'd never let you out of my sight. I'd heard enough." "Lisa!" I yelled, pushing back my head through the hole. I climbed through. "Just run away!" The man looked up at me casually. Our eyes met. "You know," he said, and I didn't know if it was to me or Lisa, "the sunset is breathtaking today. Seriously, you should take a look. I couldn't imagine living my life and dying without ever seeing such a beautiful sunset." Lisa turned on her heels and made it as if to run, but the man's hand shot out and grabbed her arm, his fingers digging into her left armpit. She shrieked. I screamed at him, demanding he let her go. I threw the magazine towards his head. It fluttered harmlessly to the ground like a dead, smutty moth. "You can come get her if you want," he told me. "You look bigger. Maybe you're stronger, too." He lifted Lisa into the air with one arm, as if she were a paper doll. "But I don't think you're stronger than me." Lisa kicked and scratched at the man's chest and face. Shallow wounds appeared on his cheek. I expected blood to come out. None did. "I'm telling you, girls, this is one of the best sunsets I've ever seen. And I've been around a lot longer than you two. Much, much longer." I debated dropping out of the treehouse onto his outstretched arm. Surely, it'd be enough for him to drop Lisa, but I'd break my leg. Maybe both of them. I remained where I was, like a coward. "Look at the sunset, honey," the man told Lisa. She didn't obey, and her scratching and kicking continued uninterrupted. There was more cuts, but still no blood. My own was starting to freeze. "Just turn around and look with me, beautiful." He glanced back up at me. His pupils were pinholes. This is your last chance to look on your own. Lisa aimed a salvage scratch across his right eye, one of her fingernails splitting the bottom lid as it went. A tatter of pale skin hung across his cheekbone. He would not bleed, the man sighed. Okay. 30 years later, it's the sound I remember. More than the sight, it was the sound of, like a foot slowly crushing a carton of eggs again and again until the eggshells were too pulverized to make any more noise. That's how it sounded when the man placed his free hand on top of Lisa's head and twisted it around and around and around until her head hung against her shoulder like a marionette with the broken strings until her head was facing the sunset. I didn't know if I was screaming as it happened. I could have been. I should have been, but all I heard were creaks on the wet, crumbling cracks. The man's voice, loud and clear, not shouting, but firm and steady, patriarchal. A father knows best, but lecture. You're my girl now, but you were as soon as I saw you, young and sweet, and the sun kissed. Why wouldn't you kiss back? It's okay. It's okay. You're part of me now. Your friend up there didn't love you like I love you. And I do love you, sweetheart. I love who we are now. And I love what we'll become. See how the sun shines over the trees on the hill. It's gonna shine long after those trees are gone. Long after the hills are gone, too. But we'll still be together. You, me, and the sun. He lifted his head and stared into my horrified, tear-stricken face and everyone else. As I sobbed, I watched with disbelief as he gasped, the flap of flesh hanging from his eyes, and pushed, unzipping his face and neck. I retched. Something was glowing behind his skin, but not with any kind of light I'd ever seen. It was a cold whiteness, as if ice were shining out of his skin, casting frigid rays across his arms and the body of my best friend. I want this, beautiful one, he whispered to me, as he raised Lisa's corpse into the air and started to lower her feet first into the chasm in his face. I don't need you, but if you want to be with her, I have room. I will come back and ask. Other than the pitiful bleats, nothing left my lips. Lisa disappeared into the hole, the man's head sinking into the devouring whiteness, like a trapped animal in a snowstorm. At the time, I would have sworn I heard shrieks coming from that hole. Other girls, other young women screaming and pleading. Decades later, I realized that it might have been my imagination. But one thing I'm sure of, one thing which I am absolutely certain is the final moments before Lisa was pulled into the man. The final moment when her hideous and twisted broken neck flopped back and forth, and her eyes opened, and her mouth went into a perfect circle, as she shrieked, It's so bright. The sun is too bright. Don't look at the sun. Don't ever look at. And she was gone. The man walked away without saying a word. Like I said, it's been 30 years. I've never seen the man again. Lisa was never found. My wife, Bethy, shakes me awake every few nights as I screamed Lisa's name. As I dream about the sight of my friend's body sinking into the man's split face, I told Beth the story. I don't know what she believes. I stay out of the sun. I heed the warning contained in my best friend's last words. My eyes are always at the ground, always low, never daring to glimpse at the stars that give us life. Bethy doesn't ask me to watch the sunset with her anymore. I let her go by herself. I sit alone in the house, alone, in the cool shadows, waiting for him to come back, and wondering what I'll say.